Hi guys, I've been asked to do a video on the difference between presets and profiles in Adobe Lightroom Classic, and I thought I would start with a brief description of what they are and why you would use them. Later on, possibly in another video, I'll go on to show you how to actually make presets and profiles yourself. So if we look at this is our Lightroom Classic, and we're sort of looking at the workflow. So when we look up at the top left hand side here, we have a set of presets. Now yours may not look the same as these because Lightroom ships with a small package of presets, but then I have added other presets and I have user presets which I've created, so yours will look different to my list. I do have a favourite set up here, and this is the package that we're going to take a look at tonight. The difference between one of the reasons you would use presets is not only when you're in Lightroom and you're working and you're developing a particular image, but you can actually add presets on import. So say for example you like to do black and white photography and you go out and you have a digital camera and you shoot in RAW, and then you come back in and you import all your images, then you have to choose the image to put into black and white. Well, with the presets you could actually do a black and white conversion on import, so all of your images will appear in black and white so you can see what they're going to look like, but you will still have, because you've shot in RAW, if you do shoot in RAW, you will still have the full colour information sitting there in your RAW file. So presets can be quite a strong little package of items to work with. You can also use them to do individual edits on a photograph. So say for example we just want to add some sharpening and clarity. So if you look over here on the right hand side, you can see this image is as it came out of the camera. There's been no adjustments done at all to this image. So if I come over here and I choose clarity and sharpening +2 and I add this on, this preset on, I've added it onto this image now, and you can see that the clarity has gone up by +52. And then if I come down to sorry, I had a bit of a delay there because I had something running in the background and I've closed it down. So we can see that we've applied sharpening and we've applied clarity to this image, but we haven't applied anything else. So then we could go on to add another preset. So then we could possibly go to the cool and low contrast preset, because that isn't going to affect the clarity. So you can see now that there's been lots of adjustments made. So it's very much dependent on the preset you're using as to whether it can be layered up so that you're using individual presets. But if you then go in and use a preset which adjusts a lot of the sliders, it will overwrite something that you've previously done on another preset. So you can not only convert to black and white on the way back in. I'm just going to hit reset and reset this image. You can do all sorts of edits, so anything that you see in this preset list here, if I go to file, import photographs, and we're going to be doing a whole section on imports shortly, if I come into the develop settings here, then I see that I can have any one of these presets can be added to the images while they're being imported. So I'm just going to cancel that and come back out. When they updated the presets in 2000, I think it was about April 2018, to see what a preset would look like on a particular image, you would have to have the navigator open, and if you hovered over a preset, it would show you in the navigator only what this image would look like with a particular preset added to it. But now, as you can see in the big display here, if I hover over an image, hover over a preset, you can see what that preset would look like on any particular image. The other thing that happened in 2018 is the fact that they've done a big change on the presets. Presets used to have an LR template file, but now they're an XMP file. That was a very big step that they made in 2018, and that was to bring presets in line so they could be used in Camera Raw and in Photoshop, so they're sort of across the board now. So in a PC, you would go up to Edit and down to Preferences. I believe in Mac it's in Lightroom Preferences, and if we take a look at in the Presets tab here, this will show you where your presets are stored. Now this is showing the Lightroom developed presets, and this is showing all other Lightroom presets, and these all other Lightroom presets are presets that were the older presets, which were the Lightroom template files that I told you. And when the upgraded Lightroom, it automatically upgraded your presets, and we'll go over that and find out how to bring older presets in and do all that, I think, in a separate video, because it would make things a lot more complicated. I'm just going to hit OK and close out of there. So if we just do a couple of just quick little show a couple of presets actually being applied to an image. Say we have this image here, and we click on that, and this is raw out of the camera. Not a particularly good image, but it's when you take a look again and look at the sliders over at the right hand side, so nothing has moved here, and we could just come over and apply a profile, and we could have a scoot down and just hover over different ones to see which ones we think might suit, and I think that would suit. So landscape enhance the golden hour would look quite nice on here. Or how about vivid saturation with slightly warmer white balance, or an intense orange? Oh, I quite like that one. So an awful lot of it depends on how you feel on the day, and you can have different presets set up. If we look at a portrait here, obviously a landscape preset isn't really going to suit a portrait one, so what about rose? That looks quite nice. Or on a, quite often I will use a soft mist, but more often on children I would use this profile. But you can see over here how many sliders have been adjusted to make that profile. So if I just reset this image again, and that is the raw out of camera image, and I just come down and click on rose, you can see that these slight adjustments have been made. Yeah, I'll reset that again and come back over and select soft mist, and when I click on there, so that there's big swings and roundabouts with these sliders. That is the difference. That is the big difference between using a preset and a profile. Okay, so we'll take a look at profiles now. So I'm just going to reset this image again so that we're working on a out of the camera image. Now a profile works It is the same way to apply a profile. You just select the profile and click it onto your image, but a profile can be used in conjunction with presets. So that is the biggest difference between a profile and a preset, is that a profile does not affect these sliders here. Now, if you shoot JPEG, you will have chosen a profile within your camera. So when you choose a picture style within your camera and you shoot a JPEG image, then that picture style is a camera profile, and that is built into your JPEG image. So if you have selected a picture style in your camera and you shoot a raw image, that picture style is completely ignored by the software. When you import that raw image, that picture style is not applied. So you have to apply, and always have had to apply, a camera profile. And before 2000, I'm sure it was 2018, you had to come down here into camera calibration, and your profiles were in this section down here. Because it has to be applied, and Lightroom have made a lot of changes, and you must apply a profile to a raw image, they've brought it up here into the basics tab, and it's in this little top section here, which I think an awful lot of people sort of overlook when they come in here, along with a lot of things in Lightroom are sort of hidden down out of the way. So if we look at a raw image and we come over into the camera profile section, and we can either click on these little arrows here, in this section here, this is where you have your favorite section. So within the profiles you can select favorites, and these are what will show up here. So if you're doing a portrait, and you can simply select Adobe Portrait and it applies that to this image. And down at the bottom of the list it says browse, so you can either hit browse here, or you can just come over and click on these 4 little squares, and it will open up your profile browser. Now this will look different in some cases when you open it up, because some of these panels may be open, some of them may be closed when you first open it. There's a few different ways to look at these, and if we look down here where it says I have grid, and there's some little arrows, there's a drop down box, so you can have you can show grid, large or list, and this will only change how things appear if I open up the favorite section, for example. So I like to look at these in a grid format, so I can have quite a few showing here, and this is when sometimes it's well worth having this right hand panel showing larger, taking up a little bit more space on your workspace. So we can close down this left panel for now, and if we see if we hover over here on this left hand panel on the edge, you can make it smaller or drag it out and make it larger. So when I'm looking at profiles, I tend to make this larger, because then you have a larger workspace to work with within your profiles. But if we come back up here again to grid and we say large, then it will show you a large version of that profile. For myself personally, or you can have list, and a list will just give you the names and it doesn't show you what the profile is like, but you can just hover over the name and it will change and show you on the full screen what that image is going to be like. So I tend to stick with grid, that way I can have a quick look and just come on and hover over the profile that I think I'm going to like, and either select it or move on to another profile and see which one I would like to go with. So if I close down the favourites section, now if we come down to the section under here, this is Adobe Raw and camera matching. Now this is because you've got these selections here because we are actually looking, if I look down here, this is a raw image that we're looking at. Now if I change to a JPEG image and click on the JPEG image, you can see that the camera raw and the camera styles have actually disappeared. That's because you've shot a JPEG image, and whatever profile you chose or camera style that you chose within your camera has been embedded already in that JPEG image in camera. So we are only really talking about the use of raw images when we come to using profiles. You can, however, still add one of these other profiles to a raw image, but you have much more choice when it comes to working with the JPEG image, but you have much more choice when it comes to working with a raw image. So again, if we look at camera matching and I open camera matching, you see we have a few different portrait style, vivid, standard, landscape. These will all look different depending on which camera that you're using. So if you're using a Nikon, a Canon, Sony, Fuji, these will all look different because these are all specific to camera brands. Okay, so in this case I could just come and select portrait, and you can see that this slider is greyed out. If I select a camera matching profile, this slider is greyed out. However, if I close this section, anything below this line, so the artistic, black and white, modern or vintage, if I come down and choose one of these styles, so modern 4 for example, if I choose this one, now you can see I can actually use this slider. I've applied that profile and I can use this slider to make it much stronger or weaker. It's not very obvious on this one. I don't know whether it comes across on the screen as that. So if I try a stronger one, possibly this one, modern 3, yeah, and I can use this slider to adjust how that profile is actually going to look. So if I close this, I'm going to leave my choice at modern 3 and close this. Now you can come and have a look, and we must have applied a preset to this, so I'm just going to reset this image again and come back in here. You can actually apply the profile after edit or before edit. I tend to like to apply them before I do any edits, because then I've got a good basis to start to work with. So if I select modern 3 again and I adjust this to taste, so about 85, say close, now I can come in and use the sliders and make any adjustments that I would like to make to this image to finish it off to taste. So again, if I want to take a look at another image and I want to take a look at this image here, and I want to come up and go to my profile browser again, if I just close that, when I'm in the basics panel here, I can decide whether I want this image to be black and white or colour. I can do that from here, or I can, and you can see how it changes the initial profile here from Adobe Monochrome to Adobe Colour. If I come into my browser, I can actually choose in here whether I want to be colour or black and white, or I want to see all. I tend to just choose one or the other when I come in to look at the profile, so it's not confusing. You're not getting different types of information fired at you. So say I want to do a colour version and an artistic version of this, and I just hover over it, will change it in the main window, what it's going to look like. So I could just choose that and alter the slider to suit whether I want that to appear stronger or weaker. Totally up to taste, absolutely and totally up to taste. So if I say close, so for example, if I want to convert this image into a black and white, for example, so if I come back up to my profile browser and select the black and white, and quite honestly, I used to use silver effects an awful lot, but since Lightroom has made these improvements, I don't think there's anything better on the market for profiles for black and white images. You get some really nice choices around here, and if you select the one you want, again, if it's just too strong, then we can go to the amount slider and we can ease it off, or we can make it stronger. So you've got a fantastic range of choices, and bearing in mind this is all before you start to do your edits. There was already a preset on this image, so the sliders have been moved, but if we just reset that, go back in here again, choose black and white, or go to the profile browser and choose a black and white and alter the effect, and then say close, and then we have our sliders all at 0. So then we can come in and make some fine-tune adjustments and come down to the effects and put a vignette on the image and do whatever work that you want to do to complete the work on this image. Obviously you wouldn't add that much texture to a face. You have to be very careful, especially with an older looking female face with wrinkles. It just makes everything a little bit more obvious. So in a way you can do layers to a certain extent now in Photoshop, in Lightroom, sorry. You can use your profile as your first choice of edit, get your theme going as how you want the image to look and feel like, then you can come along and you can apply your preset on top of that. Yeah, so it's a lot to get your head around and a lot to think about, but well worth it in the end. So the other thing as well, guys, is that you can actually we talked about taking your favorite presets and converting them into a profile, which you can do in Camera Raw, and we'll cover that in the next video. But you can also take your profile and save it as a preset. So then you can, as we discussed about bringing presets in when you import your images. So if you're importing a whole bunch of landscape images, you can choose your favorite profile on import and have that apply to all those landscape images that come in there. So it works both ways between presets and profiles. It's just a little bit more complicated, so that's the reason for doing that in another video. If you have any questions about this topic or any other topic, if there's something that you would like me to cover in Lightroom, by all means put it in the comments down below. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, and that way you will get notified with a notification anytime I upload another video. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.